That's why I was a little late. I had to go pick something up.
And we are live.
Another feeling.
That's right, folks. We are live with the BS Busters. This was supposed to be right after Christmas, but I had relatives at my house who just wouldn't fucking leave. Like I was like,
Okay, we know that there's family that has to show up and doesn't want to leave you behind.
I was like, if you could please go home, and they were like, no, no, no. Now it was my mistake. It was my fault for actually putting them for actually. Well, it was my fault for having eggnog. I had three types of eggnog. Well, two types of eggnog and a tropical drink. I had like custard eggnog, where you cook it, and then I had raw eggnog that I made with my bar skills because I'm actually a certified mixologist. And then I had like this coconut rum tropical drink that I didn't personally make. My girlfriend basically brought like a big fucking jug of the shit over, and I didn't drink it Christmas Eve because I was already drinking eggnog with bourbon, and this shit has rum in it, and you don't want to mix your liquors because that's how you get sick. So yeah, my relatives, they were just like they were. I wouldn't have wanted them to go home because they were tore up off of eggnog. The custard eggnog was the least alcoholic, and I put booze in that. And then the raw eggnog was just booze heavy. And then you had that coconut stuff, and that was just a lot of booze. So they would
likely had a lot on your head.
Yeah, so, and I was like, yeah, go home. Oh, wait, no, you can't go home. So everyone finally left my house around 1 a.m. the next day. And then, and the people who were sober did help me clean up. So I didn't have to clean up a whole bunch of shit. So that's good. But before we go any further, introduce yourselves, and then we'll get right into the BS Busters After Christmas cast.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, this is July 11th for the Gaming Mage. I welcome you to the BS Busters, and I hope you had a good Christmas.
Oh, no, go ahead, Pinky.
And this is Pinky Don, and on the day after Christmas, my brother and his friends came by to play Smash with me. So it was during the time when this podcast was supposed to air at 4 p.m. So
is this your older brother or younger brother?
My younger brother.
Okay. Yeah,
So I didn't know. So I didn't know that. So I had to leave a post to Miss Red Fox here that my brother and his friends were here in my room. So I may not be able to
make it.
To make it.
Well, it was fortuitous then that my relatives just would not leave my house. It's like, leave my house, go away. No, can't do that. But with that being said, I guess we can talk about the not really the elephant in the room, but how was your guys' Christmases?
Pretty good.
Pretty good.
So all I did was just play Smash with my cousins at my aunt's house.
Really?
Yeah.
I played Smash by myself for about an hour, and then I was like, yeah, this is fine. And then I went and did some other stuff. And then my guests came, and I entertained them. And they played Smash. They had fun. Especially my younger relatives. Yeah, it was fun for what it was. Let's see. So I guess we can talk about the first topic. I will leave a link in the description field because I think you guys, we can all go over it together with the power of screen share. Oh, and Jewel just dropped out. Oh well.
Ah, probably some technical difficulties.
Oh well, she'll make it there eventually. Okay, so this is an article from Digital Trends, winners and losers of the console wars of 2018. And I'm just going to do a general overview, and then we'll give our opinions. So, part one, this is where they say who won, who lost in 2018. So basically, their first winner is Sony, because Sony had exclusive games.
Exclusive games that really aren't worth buying, like Detroit Become Human, God of War. I mean, the only exclusive that's worth it is Marvel Spider-Man.
And that game should just be called Spider-Man 2 Redo, because that's all it is. It literally does nothing new that we've seen from Spider-Man 2, except like it's a generational leap. So the city is bigger and more detailed. The web slinging is a little bit better than what it was, just because of the graphical fidelity and stuff like that. But aside from that, I mean, it does nothing new. But hey, makes you happy. Knock stuff out. So basically, they say that the biggest failure for Sony's in 2018 was the PlayStation Classic. Yeah, no shit. The PlayStation Classic was, they need to apologize for that. And if you bought it, you got shafted. Because it's $60 now, and it'll probably go down to $30 by January, February. Another winner, Nintendo. They say that Nintendo won't be able to reach the sales that they thought they were going to reach, the 8 million they thought they were going to reach for this year. But they still, they still sold gangbusters. They had some good games come out this year: Octopath Traveler, Pokemon Let's Go, Smash Brothers Ultimate, Kirby Star Allies, Mario Tennis Aces, and Super Mario Party. And these are all exclusives. I would personally say that Super Mario Party and Mario Tennis Aces, I don't really consider those to be really good, but like that's subjective. Like I know there's an audience for those games on the system, so.
And let me guess, the article is going to say that the Xbox One is also a winner. So in general, everyone in the console war is a winner.
Oh no! I read this article before. No. They also said that this year continued to be the Switch trend of this game should be on the Switch. I'd play it on the Switch. They released Hollow Knight, which is a 2D kind of Metroidvania action adventure game, and it sold gangbusters on the Switch. I think the Switch is the highest selling platform for that game. Another game is Moonlighter and Into the Breach. Those seem to be, the Switch is pretty much the platform for indie games right now. That could change, but right now that's the way it is. Let's see, what else? What else do we have here? They say Nintendo also continued to support the 3DS in 2018, which is a no-brainer because the 3DS has an install base of almost 80 million at this point. Like, why would they not support it?
Yeah. It's pretty much the Game Boy of its generation.
Well, yeah, I mean, like Nintendo, this is business 101. You never have just one revenue stream, right? They have their home console, which is the Switch, and then they have a handheld out. Now, personally, and we can talk about this later, I think Nintendo will, once they phase out the 3DS, will continue to have a dedicated handheld to pick up that slack. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's an edible.
Yes, it is inevitable, as Kim Jong-il said in Team America World Police. Inevitable.
It's only a matter of when they'll announce it.
Well, I mean, I don't know exactly when, but I know it'll probably be in the midlife of the Switch. Because by that point, the 3DS will be really fucking old. So they'll basically have to be like, okay, shit, we gotta, the Switch will be able to sustain itself while they put their focus on launching their dedicated handheld. Kind of like how they did with the DS for the Wii. The Wii was like kind of being able to sustain itself, so they phased out the DS and launched the 3DS. You know what I mean? Kind of like that. And they said it wasn't all clear skies and sunshine for Nintendo in 2018. Nintendo Labo didn't take the world afire. And the launch of the Nintendo Switch Online, they said it's not really that impressive, but maybe it'll get better next year. Now the loser, there is a loser here, and it's the loser we all knew was going to be here. Microsoft.
I can see that.
Yeah. Microsoft has absolutely nothing to show for their year. Their big game was Forza. Sea of Thieves failed. State of Decay failed. Red Dead Redemption 2 is cool, but that's a multi-plat. That's on PS4 and the Xbox One, and it's probably going to come to PC next year. So, kind of a useless thing. So those are your winners and your losers. What do you guys think about that? Do you agree, disagree?
I'm kind of surprised that Microsoft is the loser here, considering that people were praising Microsoft to having the best E3 presentation of the three main contenders.
Yeah, but it's like the late, great Satoru Iwata said. Content is king. And if you put a gun to my head and said, tell me some great exclusive titles for the Xbox One that came out this year, I couldn't tell you. I would have to take that bullet to the head, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sadly. I'm being heard, by the way, right?
Sorry. So I don't really know. I mean, I would love for the Xbox One to be great, but
things happen.
I think Microsoft just didn't really know what the fuck they wanted to do with that console. They were just like, we'll do whatever. Okay. Jorge Zaldivar. Okay. Okay, we can get to some of your comments and then continue on with the podcast. Why is it that every time I mention Miiverse, Pinky goes and bashes it? Well, I mean, everyone has their opinion. I personally like Miiverse. Pinky says it should be over. I think we could have a happy medium. I do think that there could be a kind of like a Miiverse mini for people who like that. That's like curated.
There should be some kind of community at least. There should be at least some kind of community for the games that we play, because if anything, it means that we could actually talk about the subject at hand and talk about how it's good, how it's bad, and how it can be improved or how it
Yeah.
is held back by something.
Yeah. Like here's the thing. I like when Nintendo does their own take on things, and kind of curates it a little bit. I don't personally like how Nintendo sometimes takes their own take on things a little bit too far. Like Nintendo's online right now, like that's a little bit too far. I don't mean like the like what you're paying for. I mean like you go to their eShop now, and it's like a wild west. Like whatever goes, it's like you've got like it's just it's chaos. There's like no real order to it. I like a little bit of order to things like that.
And not even Miiverse was safe from lack of order, because you've got some rather questionable Miiverse posts from its users.
Well, I mean, yeah, but I mean, like that was the minority of Miiverse. You know what I mean?
And those posts got major attention that gave Miiverse the bad reputation it deserved.
No, it didn't. That was the minority of people. It's kind of like if you live in a city and or you live someplace that has a lot of pedestrians, right? And a lot of highways. People are going to they're going to be traffic fatalities sometimes. That doesn't mean you stop driving, you know? Like you don't, okay? And here's the thing. No matter how much people may talk shit about Miiverse, still a better community than PSN or Xbox Live in terms of the curation. Like never was I on Miiverse and had someone drop the N-bomb. You know what I mean? Like never was I like PSN. I've had people call me the N-word. Okay, never had that happen.
There's people that are actually at least kept in line in that place.
So I mean, I understand you didn't like. Okay, your opinion, you didn't like Miiverse. Cool, but don't make a blanket statement about that, because that is factually incorrect. Let's see. Which games do you wish to see be revealed in 2019? Okay, who wants to go first?
I want to see what talent is about. At least as an RPG player myself.
You mean that new game from the RPG from the Pokemon people?
Yeah,
the Game Freak, but yeah.
I was cool with it until I looked up like what the general premise is behind it, and I was like, nah. But I mean, you know, to each his own. You know, even though I'm an avid RPG person, not every RPG grabs me. So.
I like to see what Sonic's role is for Metroid Prime 4, and wonder if he's going to be the quote unquote shill Nintendo character as a deal for one of the 5 DLC fighters.
Well, I don't know if that's the case. Personally, I think he's going to be kind of like a
spirit.
No.
Post DLC spirit.
No, I was gonna say for Metroid Prime 4, I thought he was just gonna be the Rundus stand-in, basically. Like he's basically Rundus if he didn't die. So Jorge, I'm not gonna go into what you said, but here's the thing, okay? Jorge, here's the thing. You cannot go to another forum talking shit about someone in another forum. Like if you have a problem with someone, PM them and tell them that you have a problem. You don't shout it out in a public forum someplace else, because it's bad form. And sometimes there's just some shit not worth fighting about. Like it's not worth having a big brouhaha about certain shit. It's just not worth it.
It depends on the topic, but yeah, I get your point.
Yeah, I mean, and it gets really repetitive that it becomes tiresome at this point. that to which I won't, to which these people, those, to which the opposite side can't take
And we're
it.
not going to keep on belaboring the point. But for example, Jewel disagrees with me on Nintendo's Online. I personally think it's shitty. She does not. She likes it. She thinks it's good. And we can argue about it all day.
If anything, I could argue about it, and he can argue about it. If anything, there's some things that we can agree with, some things we can't agree with. It depends on the topic, but if anything, we can get over it depending on what topic it is.
And we're not, I mean, like, I'm not going to change her mind anytime soon. She's not going to change my mind anytime soon. So you know what we do? We don't talk about it, or we mention it briefly and move on. Like, that's what you do, okay? Like, but yeah, now, I'm not sending out invites right now. I might later on let you in.
It depends.
Later on in the podcast, because I was gonna do it earlier this week, but my family just would not leave my house. So,
hey, well, that's what happens when the holidays are around.
Yeah, they just won't go away. But yeah, I'll try and send you an invite so you can come in and state your opinions. Just remember, keep it civil and no name calling. Let's see. Astrobot gave Sony a boost for the win. Awesome. I don't know what win.
I think it's mostly Spider-Man, but then again,
yeah, I think the only must-have game for the PS4 that came out this year was Spider-Man. That's it. Like God of War, like that game isn't. They shouldn't even. That game could have been called anything because it's not God of War.
Who the haze? But that was true.
Yeah. Trinell83, weren't those PlayStation exclusives revealed over a year ago? Actually, most of those PlayStation exclusives were revealed 2 years ago. God of War was rumored 2 years ago. Spider-Man was revealed 2 years ago. Detroit Become Human was revealed when the PlayStation, like the second year of the PlayStation 4, so 3 years ago. Like I'm like these games come towards the end of the life cycle of the fucking console, which is embarrassing because the PlayStation 2 had tons of quality exclusives, and the PlayStation 4 does not. So, you know, like I haven't bought one yet. Like every year, E3 comes and I'm like, okay, Sony's gonna have to sell me their console. Nothing they've shown me sells me a PS4, which is sad. Which anime do you wish to see get adapted into a Metroidvania game? We already answered that question last podcast. We're not going to answer it again. Think of a new one. Nintendo Switch, great games, but unfair online service, which hurts Splatoon 2 and LGPE.
So far, Splatoon 2's online community is
it's holding stable.
More or less the same.
Yeah, it's holding stable. Here's what I'll say about Nintendo's online. Their online is the Switch's online. The Switch's online is the cheapest one available, but even so, the fact that you're now paying for it means that there's certain shit that needs to be better on it because you're paying for it. It's kind of like this, okay? If you go to a restaurant, right, and they say, well, here's some breadsticks, it's complimentary. Like the fact that you came in here, you get breadsticks for free. Okay, well, they're free breadsticks. Even if they're kind of shitty, they're free. You're not paying for them. But if you go into that same restaurant, you say, no, I want to buy a loaf of bread for the table, and it's like the higher quality bread, but you get it, and it's the same quality of bread that you would have gotten for free. That's a problem. Or, you know, to make it more apt, they're like, well, it's the same shitty bread, but now they add a little bit of olive oil with some Parmesan cheese and black cracked pepper in the little plate of olive oil. That's cool, but the bread's still kind of shitty, you know. giving me a dipping sauce isn't changing how shitty the bread is. And that's kind of like my problem with Nintendo's online. Better dip, bread's still kind of shitty. But I mean, but that's my own personal thing. As far as other games, like, I mean, really, you're gonna have to see how many people are playing Smash Ultimate online, and how many people are like really like into that, and are like getting the online just for that, and how big the player base is for that are online.
As of right now, my global Smash Power points is slowly increasing as more players are at by the game.
I will take an independent
count
statistics of that and not Nintendo's statistics. Thank you.
I was going to say that you might be a little bit iffy with going with the global Smash Power, because that is only going to help you with understanding how many people are playing one game, not an entire community of online players.
Yeah, I don't trust. I don't trust numbers from companies.
And if anything, this is maybe from Nintendo. And even though I trust them a little bit more than Sony, for Beep's sake, and Microsoft, I take that number. I take Nintendo's numbers of how many people are playing with some salt, because
phrasing.
Because if anything, that's just for one game. We don't know how many people are playing other games, or is it Nintendo's community as a whole playing with it online.
Yeah, it's like I'm very hesitant to listen. Like I would rather see independent data analysis for that. Just like for statistics, I'd rather see independent data analysis. I'm weird like that because internal data tends to be more flattering towards certain things. There's a certain level of confirmation bias. Let's go Pikachu. Let's go Eevee. I don't think those games have a heavy online component.
I'm not sure. I haven't checked if they do have online capabilities.
Yeah,
they do, but it's worse than. But it's the worst of all the Switches. Ugh.
Yeah, I don't really think. Yeah. But those questionable posts happened when Nintendo stopped policing the Miiverse after some people whined and complained about Nintendo babying them on what they were saying. Yeah, but even after that, Miiverse, like, even though some people were doing slightly perverted stuff or doing weird stuff in Splatoon, that still wasn't as bad as the shit that's happened on Xbox Live and PSN. Like, let me put it this way. Miiverse in its rawest, weirdest state was still better than Xbox Live and PSN. So, I mean, you know, I'd rather have people talking about how they basically agree with certain political stances than have someone call me the N-word. That's just me, you know, or, you know, and that happened on me on Xbox Live, or, you know, PSN have dudes fucking streaming themselves making out with their girlfriend in the playroom. Like, I remember
that news.
You know, like I don't care how much people talk shit about Miiverse. That shit wasn't happening on Miiverse. Okay, so, you know, I can take weird shit versus like blatantly offensive attacking people. So yeah, I can take weird shit. Weird shit doesn't bother me. Blatantly attacking people, racism, people streaming them making out with their girlfriends, not cool. Fighter Z was removed from tournaments. Yeah, it was removed from tournaments because
we already talked about it in the last podcast.
It's too good. It's too much of a fighting game, and they can't have that shit. They gotta have that normal Capcom shit.
Capcom is scared of Dragon Ball.
Mm-hmm. Well, because its Arc system works. Here's a little secret that people don't tell you. Okay. Arc System Works was created by some people who left Capcom. These are the same people who created Final Fight and Street Fighter 2.
The original Capcom games?
Now, for those of you who don't know this, Street Fighter 2 is the Street Fighter that set the standard for all 2D fighting games. Okay? So for me, the successor to Street Fighter 2 is Guilty Gear, not the shit that we've been getting from Capcom. You know, Street Fighter 3, Street Fighter 2 Alpha, you know, Street Fighter Alpha 0, 7, all that shit.
The moment that they went to 3 is when things went to south, as far as I know.
Well, 3 was too technical. Like, basically, Street Fighter 2 is really well balanced.
As in, 3 was when things were starting to look shifty for Street Fighter, because it probably lost its best by then.
Well, I mean, that's a part of it, but basically, the problem with Street Fighter is that when Street Fighter 2 came out, Street Fighter 2 is really easy to get into. Like, there's a character for every playstyle. There's a character who like fast characters. There's a character for people who like bruisers. There's technical characters. There's well-balanced characters. Like it's fairly. I'm not saying it's balanced in terms of how the characters play. I'm just saying it's balanced in terms easy to get into, easy to kind of balance it out. But the problem is that basically, like after that came out, they kept on making the fighting game, each iteration, more and more technical, which isn't bad because basically when you have a basic thing, you want to make it more complex to add depth and complexity to it to engage the audience, right?
Right.
Like if you look at the original Smash Brothers, very easy to get into. But with each iteration, it's gotten more complex because you want to have a certain amount of complexity. And yet, here's the genius of Smash Brothers. If all you played was the original Smash Brothers, you can still play one of the later ones and still understand the general gist of how to play it. If all you played was the first one. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now the problem with Street Fighter is that after Street Fighter 2 and all the iterations of that, like when they went to Alpha and Zero and all that shit, like it got too technical. And then it got way too fucking technical with Street Fighter 3. Like if you skipped all the iterations of 2 and Alpha and all that shit and went from just 2 to 3, you would have no idea what you were doing in 3 if all you played was Street Fighter 2. And that was a problem. And you know,
and then they went back to the basics in Street Fighter 4.
Well, they tried to, but then they fucked that up because Street Fighter 4 was too damn slow. Like that game felt like you were fighting in molasses. I mean, it was ridiculous. But anyway, yeah, the people who made Street Fighter 2, which I mean, whether you agree or disagree, Street Fighter 2 is the benchmark for 2D fighters. So, like, those people left Capcom over time, created Arc System Works, and then created Guilty Gear, which I'm going to keep it real. For me, Guilty Gear, especially the first 2-3 games in that series, Guilty Gear is the successor to like
Street Fighter?
The true 2D Capcom fighters. Like, because basically, if you look how the original Guilty Gear games play, they basically feel like if you took like Marvel vs. Capcom and Street Fighter and X-Men versus Street Fighter and combined all that shit together, and that's Guilty Gear. And it's great. I love that shit. I love Guilty Gear. Guilty Gear is like one of my favorite 2D fighters. I like it better than BlazBlue.
Aren't BlazBlue in the same section as Guilty Gear in a sense?
Well, they're made by the same studio. So
I was just asking because I was remembering that they were made by the same company of sorts.
No, they're made by the same studio. They're both Arc System Works. Same people work on both games, but Just like personally, I like. It's kind of like people who like Darkstalkers over Street Fighter, or Street Fighter over Darkstalkers. Well, I like Guilty Gear over Blaze Blue. It's just a personal thing. They play very similar to each other, so so it's not really.
That I can understand pretty well.
Yeah, but do I mean I'm scared of losing in those games? Not really. I don't
Hey,
get
they're
scared
fun.
easily. Then came Xrd and ruined the feeling. The problem with Arc System Works is that they started putting 3D models in their games, and that messed it up.
But that's more of a nitpicky thing because it does not affect their overall gameplay experience.
No, but just for some reason, like when it comes to 2D fighters, like especially like more Japanese 2D fighters, I like that cell shaded look. Like that's
It's
just
kind
a
of
personal thing for me.
It's kind of like a POV thing with art, since if the graphics are good and are able to show what's going on, then the graphics shouldn't be too much of a big problem.
Like think of it like
At
this,
least,
okay?
At least as far as playing without any handicaps.
It's like if you watch a Godzilla movie, right? Like at the end of the day, it's a giant fire-breathing monster, okay? Atomic breath-wielding monster. But here's the thing, okay? Like the later Godzilla films have like CGI Godzilla. Now I don't like CGI Godzilla. I like a dude in a suit. I know the dude in the suit looks goofy, but to me, the CGI looks just as goofy in some cases as a dude in a suit. So for me, I take the dude over the suit over CGI. But it's just a personal preference because at the end of the day, it's still a giant fire-breathing monster, you know? So it's a subjective thing.
Mm-hmm. At least we can agree on that.
Trying to think of what other topic we could discuss. We can move on.
I was gonna say, what highlight is your 2018?
Oh God, there's a lot of games. Basically, I'm looking forward to.
I was asking for at least one because if anything, that at least gives you something to work with and hope for in the new year.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing more, hopefully this year, this incoming year, about Metroid Prime 4, because I'm a Metroid Prime fanboy.
I enjoy more the traditional Metroid, so you're on your own with that.
Well, I mean, to be fair, I like both of them equally. Except for Other M. That game can eat shit and die, as far as I'm concerned. But but the other Metroid games,
we can agree on that.
Very much. But like I like, because the thing is that they scratch two completely different itches. Like the 2D Metroid games are about like completing the game as quickly as possible,
exploration and everything as best you can, right?
Well, no, the 2D ones aren't about trying to find everything. It's about finding just enough to beat the game as quickly as possible and get the best ending. Like those are the 2D ones. That's like the hallmark of a 2D Metroid game. It changed with Other M because they fucked up the formula because they didn't know what they wanted to be. But generally, that's the gist of a 2D Metroid game, and also the Samus Returns reboot, which I'm not too happy about. Because they added too much Prime stuff into it, in my opinion.
They should have kept with how Metroid 4 did it.
No, I would just say it should have been more in line with traditional Metroids. So like, Zero Mission, Fusion, Super Metroid.
Yeah, that's how I was saying. Metroid 4, they should have stuck closer to that.
But there is no Metroid 4.
And that was Metroid Fusion. Metroid Fusion.
There's Zero Mission, Fusion. Well, I mean, do you really want to call that Metroid 4 though?
Metroid 4 is Fusion.
Okay, man. All right, man. Anyway, so
seriously, it says it on the game itself.
I've never really thought of that game as being Metroid 4 though, but whatever. Anyway, but yeah, basically but they have two completely different gameplays. Like Metroid Prime is about the atmosphere, and basically it's like, okay, atmosphere and puzzle solving. People think combat is supposed to be a big thing, but combat has never been a big thing in the Prime games. It's about that exploration and that atmosphere and that feeling of loneliness and figuring out what's going on around you through scanning shit and putting things together. Like the story within the story within the story. So like they scratch two different completely itches. You know, it's like the difference between Italian food and Mexican food. You know, both of them may have flatbread with stuff on it, but one's a pizza and the other one's a tortilla. You know, they're two completely different things. Even though they may be similar in some cases with some things. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that game most. Yes. Metroid Prime 4 is the game that I'm looking forward to the most. All right.
For me, my highlight for 2018 would have to be E3 in a sense, because
no, we were talking about what game you're looking for in 2019.
Okay. I said town, so if anything, I'm also curious of how Yoshi's Crafted World is going to turn out.
I forgot that game was coming out. I thought it was supposed to come out this year.
No, it's going to come out next year.
Okay. Well, before we move on, Pinky, any other game you're looking forward to in 2019?
Let's see, it's Doom Eternal and the 2019 Pokemon game and Bayonetta 3, Luigi's Mansion 3, and I think that's all the other currently announced Switch titles I'm looking forward to.
All right.
So far, unless Nintendo announces more in their upcoming directs.
Okay. Knowing Nintendo, they usually announce something as it's starting to come out or is about to come out in about a month or so.
I wish they wouldn't be so reticent to give new information. But I guess we can move on to the next. Let's see if we have any more comments. I've bashed Other M quite enough. No, I haven't. I have not. I don't even talk about how much I hate that game very often. Like very rarely do I talk about how much I hate that game. I almost forgot about Luigi's Mansion 3. I'm gonna make a little. I'm gonna give you guys a confessional. I don't really like Luigi's Mansion that much.
To be honest with you, I think people are hyping Luigi, which is kind of weird to say that out of my own mouth, because usually people say Mario's hyped.
It's because they find Mario overrated and prefer the lesser popular brother.
I mean, I'm going to keep it real. I would rather have a platformer where you just play as Luigi instead of Mario. Like, why don't they just do that? Like, why don't they just take the engine from Mario Odyssey, except instead of you playing as Mario, you're Luigi, and he has a different power. He doesn't have a magic hat.
I was gonna say that they did give him his own game, kind of with Super Luigi U, but
That doesn't count. That was
a
just
reskin.
that was just some bullshit. But
or maybe they could give us a Paper Luigi spinoff.
Yeah,
based off of his stories from Thousand Year Old Door.
I'd like a Paper Luigi spinoff, or hell, just look. You could take the engine from Mario Odyssey, except to change it up. Like you have it's just pure platforming because Luigi doesn't have a magic hat, so you actually have to use pure fucking 3D platforming. I would totally play that shit. Because I mean, I personally like Luigi. I just don't like if you're gonna do a Luigi game, just do something different.
Too, right?
Yeah. I don't want to play. I don't like Luigi's Mansion. I always felt like it was an insult to the gamers because when it came out on the GameCube, it was like a game you could beat in 6 hours, which like was a joke back then. I still stand by that. Like this was a big game.
People today will murder you for saying that because nowadays Luigi's Mansion has gotten more love than it did.
Well, yeah, look. I'm just telling you how I felt at the time. Like, because I bought that game at launch, and I was like, "This is a game I beat in 6 hours," and that was the only fucking game I had at the time, and it was like a $50 game, and it was no. I had Rogue Squadron as well, Rogue Squadron 2. Rogue Squadron 2 was a better deal because that game had tons of content, and you could play it for hours and hours and hours. Luigi's Mansion, once you 100% it, there's nothing else to do. It's overrated. I'm sorry. It's over fucking rated. So Jorge Zaldivar says, what about Paper Donkey Kong? Yeah, I'd like a Paper Donkey Kong game. Hell, I'd take a paper Yoshi game too.
I don't think we ever seen Donkey Kong in paper form before, have we?
They could do it. You could do a paper Kirby game. Like instead of Kirby like eating enemies, he copies them. Like his copy, like that ability you could get in Kirby Superstar, where he's got this scanner and he can scan enemies. Like that's how he copies abilities instead of him eating people. Like that'd be cool. I think the paper game should be like a bigger franchise because that engine isn't that difficult to use, and I think it should be. I think they should expand that shit out. Kind of like how they had Excite Bike and Excite Truck and Excite Animals, stuff like that. They should do the same thing with paper. There should be like Paper Zelda, where it's like a 2D Zelda game, except instead of
instead of being the hero.
No, you have Link, but it's like it's like it's kind of like it's Link in paper form, and you get like party members who have little special abilities. Like, but you're out of Hyrule. It's not in Hyrule. It's someplace else.
Yeah, kind of like
how Kirby's Epic Yarn had a follow-up called Yoshi's Woolly World.
Or how basically they do the same thing in the paper games, in the Paper Mario games, where it's like very rarely, like only the first Paper Mario game kind of takes place in the Mushroom Kingdom. The other ones take place in other places. So you get to see different sides of Mario's world. Because the thing is like, by and large, we don't really get to go outside of Hyrule very often in Legend of Zelda games. Like the first 3 games take place in Hyrule. 4 with Ocarina of Time, and you could technically say that Majora's Mask takes place in a Mirror of Hyrule Termina, and then you get Wind Waker, which still you're technically in Hyrule, although a heavily flooded Hyrule, and these are just the mainline games. I'm just talking about the mainline games. I know the spin-offs, you go different places, but like half the time you don't know if those are actual spin-offs or a weird dream or someone got high on mushrooms. You never know. let's see. Aries 73 says, "As I never had a 3DS, Fire Emblem 3 Houses is a game I want to try in 2019." I have something to tell you, Aries.
I forgot about Three Houses. That's another game I'm looking forward to.
You can get a 3DS for like $79 with a game on sale right now. For like basically $80. It's a 2DS, but I mean, to be honest, I don't even use the 3D on my 3DS that often, so it's kind of not really necessary. Jorge Zaldivar says Yoshi's Woolly World is better than Kirby's Epic Yarn. I played that on the Wii, and Kirby's Epic Yarn was a major disappointment. I mean, it basically depends on your how you feel. Like personally, I liked Kirby's Epic Yarn better than Yoshi's Woolly World. But I mean, you have to understand something. I'm not a huge Yoshi game fan. Like I'm not. Like I think Yoshi is best when he's just.
I think he left a bad impression on you ever since he was revealed in Yoshi's Island.
No, not just that. I just don't like the Yoshi games that much. I find them to be kind of slow and methodical and not very fast. And I find the platforming to be not even nearly as tight as what you have in a traditional Mario game. Like, I like Yoshi when he's just a beast of burden, where you can sacrifice him in order to make that extra jump. It's like, fuck you, Yoshi. No! You had to go to the pit so I could make that jump, bitch. Don't worry, I'll find one of your unborn eggs and hatch it and feed it and get another one. Mario's such a
and people wonder why there's such a meme as Yoshi abuse.
Mm-hmm.
Or how Yoshi commits tax fraud.
What with all those kids? I'm getting that credit for that kid. How many kids do you have, Yoshi?
Oh God.
Well, here's the big question: is Yoshi male or female? Because in the books they call Yoshi a he, but he lays eggs, which is kind of creepy.
He's still considered a male. And he just reproduces asexually.
And here's the creepy thing, and here's the creepiest thing. Yoshi has a girl. It's implied that Yoshi's girlfriend is Birdo, which is a dude who's a cross-dresser.
Take that as you will, ladies and gentlemen.
So I don't know.
Pretty weird when you think about those.
But that's more of a localization problem. I mean, in Japan, isn't Birdo always a girl?
No, in Japan, Birdo's a dude. That's the thing. That's what I'm telling you. Birdo is a dude with a bow on his head. So there you go, folks. Nintendo, more progressive than you ever thought. had a transvestite in their game, and they just, fuck it. It's a dude who likes to dress like a woman. Fuck it. Yeah. That's the thing, and I mean, we could go so far down that rabbit hole because Birdo's mouth looks like a sucker, and yet Birdo's primary attack is spitting like balls at people. So, and Kirby's big thing is that he uses his tongue to catch stuff like balls. So really, we know who's the catcher and the pitcher in that relationship. What I'm saying is that
this is what happens when Busters get pretty into it.
I mean, and have you ever seen how Yoshi walks with his ass all just kind of up and ready to receive? I mean, I think we know who's the catcher and the pitcher in that relationship. And all I'm going to say is this, folks: Yoshi's
out there.
Yoshi is he's the how can I put this without being crass? Yeah, he's definitely the catcher, okay? And Birdo is the pitcher, okay? So, yeah.
Take that as you will, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, boy.
But fortunately, they're two different species, so they don't have kids. Thank God. I mean, it's not that weird. I mean, anyone who ever saw
you knocked on wood, didn't you?
Yeah, I mean, it's not that weird because anyone who ever saw the Godzilla American animated series that was based off of the shitty Dean Devlin movie, Roland Emmerich Dean Devlin movie, the movie sucks, but the animated series is actually pretty good. And I mean, like that Godzilla is male, but it lays eggs. It's weird. So it's not that difficult. I can deal with it. It's just weird, you know. Like Yoshi, or as they call him, Yoshi. But no, I'm not a big Yoshi fanboy. So let's
move on. I think we can move on.
Yes, we can move on. So, seahorses get pregnant? No, seahorses don't get pregnant, dude. Male seahorses have a brood pouch where they keep their children safe, and then they let them
all go when they hatch.
They let them out, but they don't get pregnant. Jorge, look, man, look. I'm just telling you what you need to do, man. You just you gotta stop making like chats and calling out people. Just don't do when you feel the urge to do that, don't. Okay? You know, just don't. Just don't do that. Don't go calling out people. Don't go making things, calling out folks and stuff like that. If you have a topic where you disagree with someone, just say, you know, I disagree with certain people's opinion on this. Here are the reasons why. And don't attack people. Just say, you know, this is, I believe blah, 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 this reason. I believe blah, blah, that reason. And then let it go. Just, you know, don't just keep on. Because here's the thing. You don't want to, okay, when you make video game facts toxic, you make it like that shithole that's now defunct and dead, Player Essence. And we don't want, the reason video game facts exist is
we don't need a second Player Essence.
Yeah, people didn't want to be like Player Essence. Yeah.
We're trying to avoid that kind of scenario to begin with.
Or NeoGAF. Okay, so just don't do that. Okay.
And already, NeoGAF's successor, Reset ERA, is becoming a NeoGAF 2.0.
Well, because the same people are doing the same shit. That's the problem. So Jorge, I'm gonna send you an invite.
After what happened, Edmonds, I wouldn't be surprised if it happened.
So as long as you have a microphone or a webcam, you can get in. So anyway, as we were saying, yeah, I'm I mean, we can talk a little bit about the state of YouTube, if you guys want to.
Well, I do have one article I want to discuss about.
Okay, go ahead.
I found it which I found just recently, but it's only like a month old.
Go ahead.
There's this Japanese website that opened a poll to ask its viewers which of the female Pokemon characters do they think they find the cutest, and no surprise, Misty won number one.
Yeah, I would say that's cool, except for one small problem. Misty's like 14.
She's 10.
Oh shit! Oh hell no! No man, no. So 14 is bad enough, but 10, that's like. No.
The only female.
I'm sorry, I'm just having a great laugh now.
The only female characters on this list who are full-fledged adults are Cynthia, the champion from Diamond and Pearl, and Lusamine, Lily's mother from Sun and Moon.
I mean, I don't know what it is about Japanese culture and underage girls. Like,
probably it's Probably trying to really relive their youth.
I mean, we talked about Sailor Moon, didn't we? Last podcast, where I was like, the whole point of Sailor Moon, like a major plot point of Sailor Moon is that this girl who's like 12, 13 years old is trying to hook up with a dude who's 33.
She's actually 14 at the beginning of the series.
No, you're talking about the anime. I'm talking about the manga. The manga that the anime is based on. She is 12, 13 years old. And Darian's fucking 33. Okay. Now let me tell you something. All right.
That's 20 years plus.
Now, first of all, listen, there is nothing a 13-year-old girl can say to a 33-year-old man except hello and goodbye. That's it. There's nothing else at 13. Oh god.
It kind of gives you Pretty Woman vibes. You know, that one movie starring Brooke Shields where she was 12 in that time.
That wasn't Pretty Woman. That was Blue Lagoon.
No, that was when she was 14.
Yeah, that was bad enough though. No, what you're thinking is Lolita.
Oh yeah, but that didn't star Brooke Shields though.
No, Lolita's been done like 3 times. The first movie starred, I forget,
and it starred an adult playing as a little girl.
And then the second movie had Dominic Swain and Jeremy Irons, and then they did it again later on. Like, basically, my point is this: Japanese, you guys have got to stop doing this, okay? Because I mean, that's what happened to that Rurouni Kenshin guy. People are like, I can't believe he's a pervert. Look at this dude. He's like 44 years old and trying to dress like a fucking hipster. And I don't mean like a middle-aged hipster. I mean like he's trying to dress like someone in their teens. And I'm like, dude, you're a fucking pervert, and everyone knows it.
And if that wasn't bad enough, one of the art designers for the Pokemon game series, Shigeru Omori, just recently drew a sketch of the main female characters from Sun and Moon, who are also in the anime, in their bathing suits. I'll post you guys a link.
No,
to it.
no, I don't want to see it. I don't want to. I don't want to see it.
I think it's best that we don't see it.
I don't want to see underage, even fictitious underage girls in scanty garb. Okay.
And I had an argument with someone on Discord thinking this is not a big deal because there's nothing sexual about it, because it's just.
Well, I mean, it isn't a big deal. It's not illegal because it's a fictitious person. So on a technical level, yes, it's not illegal. But the thing is that I just don't want to be exposed to sexualized underage fictitious characters. Because like I have a conscience and I don't want to think of underage characters sexually, even if they are fictitious.
Hey, this is why you go with the adult fictitious characters like Samus or Rosalina.
No, I don't. I don't go with them either. You want to know why? Because I have a brain. Like, think about it, okay? People are like, man, Samus is hot. No, she's not. Samus is partially psychotic, okay? Think about it. Every time she sees a certain space
her body is hot, but her mind is dangerous.
She goes catatonic and goes out of her way to kill that creature to the point where she disregards her personal safety, okay? She is insane. She has not had a close relationship with anybody. The closest relationship she's had is with her commanding officer, and that relationship she had with that commanding officer was fucked up. Okay? So Samus is not someone that you'd be like, yeah, I totally, like literally someone who's that psychologically damaged, I'd get a soft on just thinking about going with them. It's like, you're hot, but you're fucking crazy, and not cool crazy. Like Bayonetta's hot crazy. Like Bayonetta's like, yeah, she's crazy, but she'd probably be fun in the bed crazy. You know? Like Samus is like, she's crazy, and she's not even
You
fun
don't want to
crazy.
mess with that.
Yeah, she's not even fun crazy. Like Bayonetta's like, I wonder the cool shit she's gonna do with those legs. What's she gonna do with that lollipop? What's she gonna do with that hair? like that's cool. That's fun. You can think about some cool shit to do with that. Samus is like, even if you did anything, she'd just lay there probably because she has no, like, she was raised by fucking aliens. Okay, she has no
Alien
real,
birds.
yeah, she has no real like, she was basically
Emotion.
raised to be a weapon. That's all she does. She hunts down and kills shit. Okay, every game she's been in, she's committed genocide on a mass scale. Okay, like, okay, the first Metroid game, that's a pirate base, so that's not genocide. But Metroid 2, genocide. Metroid 3, genocide. Metroid 4, genocide.
I thought it was genocide retake.
No, basically, like 3 games.
So it's not genocide.
4 mainline Metroid games, she commits genocide on 3 of them. Okay, because she does genocide against Parasite X. But here's the thing: the reason Parasite X went out of control is because she made genocide on the Metroids. So what I'm saying is that Samus is just like, she's not stable. This is not a normal person. Okay, she's not someone that you're like, yeah, like if you took her out on a date, you'd probably get murdered by Ripley. And you become a plot point for revenge plot for the next game. I must get revenge for you.
Yeah. Have fun being on that tombstone. Being the one to be killed.
What?
Have fun being that girl, that boyfriend to Samus, because the moment that you have your tombstone ready, you're getting off, and well, new plot point.
That's the thing. I don't think she's ever had a relationship. Like, I don't think she's ever had a romantic or sexual relationship. Which, I mean,
If
like,
ever happens, that's gonna happen.
Like, I don't think she's ever had it, because if she did, they'd probably turn into a plot point for another game. So, no, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Don't take the psychotics.
Yeah, don't do it.
Besides, there's a lot more. There's at least a few more girls that are in the Nintendo universe that are a lot more safer than Samus.
Yeah. I mean, there's
like Rosalina.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, Mayor Rosalina. Not Mayor Rosalina. Well, no, Rosalina is basically God, so I don't feel comfortable with, like if you start some shit, right, and she's mad at you, she could literally destroy your planet. Like, I don't want to deal with that shit.
But she is also a mother of
That's the point. She is the mother of the creatures that create planets, stars, and galaxies. I'm not fucking with that. Just what I need. She gets angry and her kids fuck up my life. Literally. No, thank you. No.
At least I'm kind enough to not go down to that level.
No, I would go with Pauline. I would go with Mayor Pauline from because, and I want to tell you why Mayor Pauline. Because Mayor Pauline, she has a job. She's worried about her city. Unlike Princess Peach, who essentially lets her country get invaded every few years, doesn't put any money to make it less invadable. Their defense plan is a fat Italian plumber and his skinny brother, both of which, when you really look at their actual heights, are fucking midgets.
This is before streams, mind you.
That's right, folks. So Princess Peach, yes. What's our defense plan to stop Bowser from always invading our country and kidnapping you to attempt to rape the shit out of you? Well, are we going to increase defense spending? No. Are we going to actually give any of our army weapons? No. Well, what's our defense plan? Well, I have this fat ass plumber and his brother. They're going to do some shit. You know what?
And
Fuck
these
you.
guys require shrooms.
Frankly, I'm surprised the citizens of the Mushroom Kingdom haven't taken Princess Peach and deposed her and thrown her in the deepest. Just give her to Bowser. Take her. We don't need her anymore. We've got a parliament now and a president.
And it's these type of jokes that game developers are trying to avoid with their photorealistic games.
Because she is a waste of. I'm just saying, if you really think about it. Because here's the thing. Look, you might not like Bowser, but look, no one's invading the Koopa Kingdom. His minions like him. Like, he's got a health plan.
I was going to say,
an army.
He's the one. There's a few times that Bowser gets invaded, and those are played out in stories that you can actually interact with.
Very rarely does his shit get invaded, and when it does, he gets his shit back. Go play Bowser's Inside Story. Yeah, his castle gets invaded, but he comes back. He's like, look, this motherfucker ain't taking my shit. Princess Peach, oh no. Fat ass plumber.
Yeah, that's the funny thing. I actually respect Bowser because he works to get his stuff back, and you actually get to see how he does it. And we only got one game where Princess Peach is the heroine of this game. And what do we see her use?
Emotions.
Yeah, I mean, that was a pretty good game, actually. I mean, the platform was a little.
So to be fair, the game story revolves around emotion because it involves this scepter that changes people's emotions uncontrollably.
Yeah, because there was an alien prince who was cursed into a umbrella or some shit. I don't remember. Anyway.
Yeah.
Jorge Zaldivar has a question. We kind of answered it last week, but I have a new answer this week. Which defunct video game company would I bring back? He says Hudson Soft. I mean, if you absolutely have to have Bonk or Adventure Island or
I actually thought of them as some of the Bomberman series.
Well, Bomberman's their most famous series.
And the ones that actually made the good Mario parties.
But what defunct old video game company would you guys bring back?
That's a tough one. Let's see. Which company got the defunct?
Mattis might be one, at least to get the Sims off of EA's hands.
Who?
M.A. Mattis. You know, the ones that made the Sims in the past.
You mean Maxis?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I'd like to see Maxis come back. Yeah.
At least to get the Sims out of the hands of EA.
All those damn microtransactions. Damn, I hate microtransactions. That's why I stopped buying the Sims, because the first 2-3 Sims games, right? Like, they would come out and then they'd add expansions, and then you would wait till all the expansions came out and the Game of the Year version came out, and then you'd buy that and get everything. Then Sims 4 comes out, and it's all these fucking microtransactions. It's like, oh, you want this? You want the seasons pack? That's going to be $12.99. Oh, you want the jobs pack? That's $19.99. I was like, fuck this. I can't do this. And I stopped buying them. And I used to love The Sims, but I'm not paying. I refuse to be nickel and dimed for content. I'm not playing that game. So
Let's see. I can't think of any studio
Really?
that I actually care about.
Okay, I have one. Old Rare, not Microsoft Rare. Old school.
The old
Not even Nintendo
and
Rare. Just like old school before Microsoft just ruined them Rare. All right.
I was gonna say that 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 people are gonna say that Rare still lives on with 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 that game
Platonic.
that yeah, Platonic. But
That's like
I
half a Rare
question
though.
that.
That's like I'm gonna keep it real. Ukulele is not a bad game. It really isn't. Like people are like, it's terrible. It's like, look, man, that game was
I'm
made.
iffy about
That game was made on a smaller budget than almost, comparatively speaking, than almost any other game. And for what they were able to do, like the things that I love about rare 3D platformers are in the game: transformations, quirky sense of humor, fun music, interesting abilities and power-ups, nice boss battles. Everything that I wanted from a rare platformer, I got. I enjoyed it, especially once they patched it and all that shit. Fair enough. Plus, it had Chris Wise music. And you can't go wrong with Chris Wise. But
Go on.
But I mean, I would love to see Rare come back like that. I personally, and this is just me, I mean, I personally don't like I'm not like the biggest fan of certain, like I don't like Rare as it's been under Microsoft. I think that them going from making like Battletoads and Saberwolf and Killer Instinct and Donkey Kong Country and Jet Force Gemini and Congress Bad Fur Day and Donkey Kong Country 64 and GoldenEye and Perfect Dark. Like them going from making stuff like that to them going to making fucking avatars and Sea of Thieves. Like I think that's a step down for them. Banjo Nuts and Bolts. Ugh. Perfect Dark Zero. Ugh.
All right, I thought of one defunct company that we could bring back. The studio that brought us Clay Fighters, Earthworm Jim, or Captain Boogers. I forgot the name of the company.
I know who you're talking about. I'd like to see them. I'd like to see them come back. I'd like to see another Earthworm Jim game.
Yeah, exactly why I suggested that company to come back.
Maybe a reboot. Actually, I do like the reboot.
Awkward silence.
Awkward silence. But anyway, that's my own personal opinion.
Oh yeah. See, we can move on to the other topic regarding rumors regarding Persona 5 getting a Switch port, as well as Fallout 4, Witcher 3, and all those other major third-party titles.
Well, I'm gonna keep it real. I would love to see a port of Persona 5 on the Switch. Atlas can make a ton of money putting that shit on the Switch. The Witcher 3 being on the Switch. I mean, it could happen. I mean, like it would have to be downscaled a little bit, but they could probably get it to work. I don't know about anything
Hopefully
else.
it'll be less of a. I was going to say, hopefully it's going to take less time for Persona 5 to come to Switch than a Final Fantasy that featured a certain character. All because of Smash. Because I was remembering hearing all these sayings that this game is going to come to the Switch because this character is in it.
Oh yes, I remember. I remember that time because those were good times.
And the first one, if I got it right, would be Sonic. Next is Mega Man. And if I get it right, we have Ryu, Ken, and Bayonetta. Of course, we have
Snake and Cloud.
him. And now that we're getting Joker, I'm just wondering how long we're gonna wait.
Let's not forget it. We got Simon Richter, so we're still waiting for a Castlevania game coming to this, getting ported to the Switch. Whether it's a port, whether it's a collection port or a new game entirely.
Yeah, but as I said, that's gonna be a wait.
So needless to say, it's not going to beat Requiem because apparently it's using data from the PS Vita version, which is what's keeping those games from getting ported onto Nintendo platforms. I mean, Symphony of the Night. I mean,
I'm one of those people who never really liked Symphony of the Night that much, so not really angry about it. It's called Interplay. Yeah, Interplay also were the guys who made Fallout, the original Fallout, which is like my favorite game, like one of my favorite Western RPGs. So, yeah. So anyway, with that being said, anything anyone else wants to go on with before we wrap things up and call it a night?
Oh yes, there is one thing.
Okay.
Apparently,
what is it?
According to Paramount Pictures, about 800 million people are enthusiastic about the Sonic the Hedgehog movie that they're releasing.
You mean 8,000 or 800?
800 million.
800 million? That doesn't.
800 million.
Yeah,
that sounds very suspicious.
Yeah, that's what everyone else is thinking as well. People are very, very suspicious about that number.
Yeah, I'm very suspicious.
Little lies tell me sweet little lies.
As a matter of fact, that sounds more than suspicious. That sounds fraudulent.
Highly.
That almost everyone, almost the entire the reception of the movie poster was almost entirely negative.
That's the one thing, oddly, all Sega fans were agreeing on.
See, here's what people
even Sega themselves don't like the new Sonic design.
See, here's what people don't understand. Okay, Sonic the Hedgehog was popular from like '89 to '93. He had 4 years of popularity.
I was about to say this. I thought it was going to be the life cycle of the Sega Genesis.
Basically, that was the life cycle of the Sega Genesis being like ultra popular. Was in '89, '93. Okay, that was when the Sega Genesis was like kicking ass, taking names, competing. Sonic was created to be really popular from like 1989 to 1992. Okay, like Sonic the Hedgehog had about 4 years of popularity. All right, and that's it. There's no other time where Sonic has been like, oh my god, Sonic the Hedgehog is fucking awesome. So,
which is kind of funny considering how people always say Sonic's the best thing alive, or the fastest thing alive.
He's the fastest thing alive. Sonic, he can really move. Sonic, with the attitude.
Sonic,
the fastest thing alive.
He's the fastest thing alive.
Oh man! See, even a Nintendo fan such as me remembers that damn theme song. Okay, or at least parts of it. But my point is this: Sonic the Hedgehog is just kind of, how can I put this nicely?
A fad.
Basically, yeah.
A trope of fad, really, to me, because you always have them trying to make a comeback of being the best thing around.
Well, the thing is that Sonic was made to appeal to those wannabe hip and cool early '90s kids. That was like literally almost 20 years ago at this point. Those kids are grown ass adults now. They're like my age or older. And what was cool then is not cool anymore. So you need to find something else to appeal to them with. But like Sonic hasn't really evolved beyond that lame ass thing that he was back then. You know what I mean? They tried. They tried with that Big Red Button game where he had all those bandages wrapped around him, but that didn't work. And then they tried to make him the only Sonic the Hedgehog game that actually made Sonic kind of cool, in my opinion, was Sonic Unleashed, where like Dr.
You
Robotnik.
mean the Werehog?
Yeah, where Dr. Robotnik. Well, because in that one, when you fight Dr. Robotnik, Sonic is finally like, none of this, I'm gonna go Super Sonic and hit you. Like, he turns into the Werehog and he's friggin' like destroying Dr. Robotnik's machine, and he's about to kill him. He's about to kill Dr. Robotnik, which is really, if you're a wild animal, what you're gonna do to some scientist dude who keeps on fucking with you all the time. At a certain point, you get tired of being fucked with, you know? And that was interesting. And then they probably fucked that up with the next game. So, I mean, like, basically, Sega doesn't know what they're doing with the franchise. They don't care. They have no incentive to do something cool with it. So, they're going to do whatever the hell they want to do. And that's the end of it.
If anything, Mega Man had that moment too.
Yeah, but the difference between Sonic and Mega Man is this. Mega Man doesn't need to be cool. Like, I mean, this is why Sonic and Mega Man are this is the difference between Sonic and Sonic the Hedgehog and Mario is that Mario is lame, and he's so lame that it goes around from being lame to cool, right?
In a sense, I call him timeless.
No, it's not even time. It's kind of like okay. It's like if you see someone wearing suspenders unironically, like they legitimately wear suspenders because they like them, they look good on them, they're not trying to be cool. It's like, yeah, these are good, you know? Then suspenders go from being uncool to cool, right? Because that person's wearing them with a purpose. And that's basically kind of like Mario. Like Mario is not cool. Like he's a short, fat, hairy Italian plumber who doesn't speak English very well or anything very well. It's mostly gibberish, you know. And that's kind of endearing. Sonic the Hedgehog was meant to be cool. He's got cleats, he's got sneakers, he talks with attitude, you know. He says shit like, you know, you're too slow and you know, don't be a slow-mo and take a chill pill and stuff like that.
That nobody else can make it seem like you cannot be cool without attitude.
You're too cool. I mean, you know what I'm saying. It's just like,
And that's about it from my part.
okay, then I think we've exhausted it. Anything you guys want to pimp out before we wrap things up?
Well, if anything, I'll be sending off the new year with my family. Hopefully with a good glass of pina colada.
Ironically, I've been drinking a pina colada smoothie. No alcohol in it though.
And I'm just waiting for my uncle and aunt to come visit my house. Spend a few days celebrating New Year's, like they always do every year.
All right. Well, I have no relatives coming to my house because they took up all their time this Christmas Day. So let's see. I look forward to tomorrow's podcast where we'll be doing our end of year winners and losers of the year. We'll be looking at third parties. We'll be looking at first parties, all that fun jazz. And I might, this time since I have no relatives coming to my house, I will definitely be doing a New Year's cast, but it will not be on New Year's. It will be the day after New Year's. So January 2nd. So look forward to that. Hopefully some of these people can be there for that one. But that's what's coming up. So peace, good night, and hype. Well, you guys say it.
Hype responsibly.
Now,
New year.
Now get on out of here and have fun.